Lesson 1. The Meaning of History. This lesson introduces history as a discipline and as a narrative. It discusses the limitation of historical knowledge, history as a subjective process of recreation, and historical method and historiography. History is derived from the Greek word historia, which means learning by inquiry. The Greek philosopher Aristotle looked upon history as a systematic accounting of a set of natural phenomena, that is, taking into consideration the chronological arrangement of the account. There are theories constructed by historians investigating history, the factual history, and the speculative history. Factual history presents readers the plain and basic information versus the events that took place, the time and date with which the events happened, the place with which the events took place, and the people that were involved. Speculative history, on the other hand, goes beyond facts because it is concerned about the reasons for which events happened and the way they happened. History deals with the study of past events. Individuals who write about history are called historians. They seek to understand the present by examining what went before. The practice of historical writing is called historiography, the traditional method in doing historical research that focuses on gathering documents from different libraries and archives to form a pool of evidence needed in making a descriptive or analytical narrative. The limitation of historical knowledge. The incompleteness of records has limited man's knowledge of history. Most human affairs happen without leaving any evidence or records of any kind. No artifacts, or if there are, no further evidence of the human setting in which to place surviving artifacts. The whole history of past, called history as actuality, can be known to a historian only through the surviving records, or history as record. And most of history as record is only a tiny part of the whole phenomenon. Even the archaeological and anthropological discoveries are only small parts discovered from the total past. Historians study the records of evidences that survived the time. They tell history from what they understood as a credible part of the record. However, their claims may remain variable as there can only be historical records that could be discovered, which may affirm or refute those that have already been presented. This explains the incompleteness of the object that historians study. History as the subjective process of recreation. From the incomplete evidence, historians strive to restore the total past of mankind. They do it from the point of view that human beings live in different times and that their experiences may be somehow comparable, or that their experiences may have significantly differed contingent on the place and time. For the historian, history becomes only that part of the human past which can be meaningfully reconstructed from the available records and from inferences regarding their setting. In short, the historian's aim is verisimilitude about a past. Unlike the study of natural science that has objectively measurable phenomena, the study of history is a subjective process as documents and relics are scattered and do not together comprise the total object that the historian is studying. Historical method and historiography. The process of critically examining and analyzing the records and survivals of the past is called historical method. The imaginative reconstruction of the past from the data derived by that process is called historiography. By means of historical method and historiography, the historian endeavors to reconstruct as much of the past of mankind as he or she can. Historical analysis is also an important element of historical method. In historical analysis, historians select the subject to investigate, collect probable sources of information on the subject, examine the sources of genuineness, in part of in whole, and extract credible particulars from sources or parts of sources. The synthesis of the particulars thus derived is historiography. Synthesis and analysis cannot be entirely separated since they have a common ground. which is ability to understand the past through some meaningful, evocative, and convincing historical or cross-disciplinary connections between a given historical issue and other historical contexts, periods, or themes.